She said it without blinking, as if the words weren't about to carve into me like a cold surgical blade. "We're giving the house to my brother," she said, her tone light, almost rehearsed. "It's his graduation gift, and you're not invited to the party." The room went quiet after that, too quiet. Her parents shifted, unsure whether to nod, smile, or pretend they didn't hear the contempt dripping from her voice. My lawyer beside me exhaled through his nose, slow, controlled, like a man measuring the distance between a fuse and a lit match. I just sat there, still, expressionless, a storm behind glass. I watched her smile, wide, triumphant, foolish. I knew that smile, the same one she used when she thought she'd finally outmaneuvered me. My wife had always underestimated silence. She thought calm meant compliance. She mistook composure for surrender. She didn't understand that stillness is where decisions sharpen. I kept my gaze on her hands, the way she clasped them, twisting her wedding ring with nervous excitement. Her tells were always subtle, always there. I had learned to read them long before she learned to hide them. My lawyer leaned slightly toward me. "You want to tell them?" he whispered. "Or should I?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Because 3 days from now, on her brother's so-called big day, all of this would detonate exactly the way I planned. But she didn't know that yet. She thought today was a victory. Let her have it, for now. The first fracture started months earlier. A message on her locked phone, one she snatched away too quickly. I didn't see the words, I saw the panic. That was enough. Then the late nights, the sudden family errands, the guilt-laced affection that appeared in bursts, like someone trying to cover a wound with glitter. I kept quiet. I always do. But silence has weight, and mine pressed into her until she couldn't even look me in the eye without flinching. One evening, she came home smelling like a cologne I didn't own. A cheap, synthetic one, the kind her brother wore, or the kind someone pretending to be innocent might choose. Her explanations were fragile, too polished, too quick. A lie is never in the story. It's in the delivery. I didn't confront her. Not then. I simply cataloged the inconsistencies. The sudden interest in her brother's finances. Her insistence on visiting her parents alone. Her mother's awkward small talk that skirted around gratitude. Then the strange shift. Her brother posting photos of designer watches, weekends away, expensive gadgets. Money he didn't earn. Money someone gifted. Money that felt, unmistakably, like mine. My instincts whispered betrayal. My logic demanded proof. And my silence promised retribution. I started small. Phone records, bank transfers, a quiet conversation with my accountant, a private investigator who specialized in financial deceit. Every step was measured. Externally, I remained unchanged, courteous, attentive, unbawkered. Internally, pieces clicked into place. A Venmo transfer labeled "Thanks again." A receipt for a ring, men's, expensive, certainly not for me. A set of emails between her and her brother, discussing the plan. And finally, the one thing I didn't expect, a transfer from my wife to her brother in the exact monthly amount of our mortgage. The mortgage I had cleared for her parents. The mortgage she had lied about handling the paperwork for, because she needed access to push the deed transfer. She wasn't cheating with another man. She was cheating with her family, exploiting my trust, weaponizing my generosity, using me as a silent financier for her brother's new life. I didn't feel anger, just clarity. Clarity is colder than rage, sharper than heartbreak, more lethal than both. I made 2 calls that night, one to my lawyer, one to the investigator. No yelling, no confrontations, just a quiet recalibration of power. The evidence arrived in a cream envelope. Neat, clinical, impossible to argue with. Financial statements, screenshots, email threads, her brother's spending summary. A perfect map of betrayal. When I placed the envelope in front of her, she tried to smile, to joke, to deflect. I didn't speak. She opened it. Her face drained. First confusion, then dread, then fear. Real fear. The kind that comes when someone realizes the ground beneath them was never solid. She whispered, Where did you get this?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. She started talking fast, pleading, explaining, rambling, words collapsing over themselves. I remained still. Stillness terrifies liars. When she finally asked, "What are you going to do?" I looked at her ring, twisted, trembling, and said nothing. Silence was the only confrontation she deserved. Which leads back to today. Her family gathered, her brother beaming, the house deed on the table, her voice sharp with entitlement. "We're giving him the house," she repeated. "He deserves it." My lawyer finally spoke. "Actually," he said, sliding a folder across the table, "you won't be giving away anything. Because you," he pointed at my wife, "no longer own a property." Her parents stiffened. Her brother swallowed hard. My wife blinked like she had been slapped by air itself. I leaned back, calm. "I transferred the deed," I said quietly, "to someone who earned it." Their confusion deepened. "My name," I added. Her mother gasped. Her brother cursed. My wife stood there shaking. I wasn't done. "And about the party," I looked at my lawyer. He handed her the divorce papers. "You're not invited." I walked out before she could speak, before her cries turned into bargaining, before the apologies she didn't mean began spilling out. The air outside was cool, steady, honest. 3 days from now, her brother would have no house. She would have no access to my accounts. And her family would finally understand the cost of mistaken quiet for weakness. I didn't feel triumphant, just free. Some truths don't need to be spoken. Some betrayals don't deserve anger. And some endings are better written in silence. I closed the car door gently. This chapter didn't end with a slam. It ended exactly the way it should. Calm, cold, final.